I'm Jason Little, and this is 10 minutes off the top of my car. I'm in the car, driving down the road, having a good time. Been busy all day long, been wanting to make a video, especially after I got a comment on one of my videos this afternoon, a question from a viewer that I so desperately want to answer, and I want to take care of that right now because I don't know when I'm going to have time to address it in the near future. So I'm driving down the road, going to an appointment, and I want to take this opportunity to give you the 10 minutes off the top of my head for the day. All right, so the question was posed to me by somebody on another video that they have a friend who said that they have been through such a difficult time in their life, and life is so hard that they don't want to believe in a God that would allow the world to be in this condition. And you know, and I know that that question comes up a lot, or that statement comes up a lot. Well, I don't see how a loving God can allow such suffering to be in the world. This is the same situation that Siddhartha Gautama found himself in 500 BC when he sat underneath a tree, stared into his navel for 10 years, and became the enlightened one, Buddha. And he didn't understand how there could be such suffering in the world and how God or the gods would allow it. And so he developed his own form of atheism called Buddhism. And there you have it. So I look at it like this. The best way to answer that kind of a question is with a question. The question is, the statement is, I don't want to believe in a God that would allow a world as messed up as this world is. Okay, great. Then what kind of God do you want to believe in? Do you want to believe in a God who will force you to do his will, or who will make everything perfect so that you have no free will, so that you will absolutely, which would be God forcing you to do his will, making everything perfect so that you do his will? There is no free will. God is a volitional being, and he made us volitional beings. That means that I have my own free will. God has free will. God created me in his image. I have free will. And so the reason that there's suffering in this world is not because God allows suffering in this world. I mean, if you take it to the extreme, yes, God allows suffering in this world. There's no doubt about it, because he allows us to have free will. Now, that being said, we are given the opportunity, the ability, and the power to make our own decisions. And you know something? I think we probably don't make good decisions. That's just a guess. I don't know about you. Maybe you're one of those perfect people and you've made good decisions all of your life, but I sure haven't made good decisions in my life, and I've suffered the consequences for it, and I don't blame God for those bad decisions at all. In fact, right now I'm probably making a bad decision while making a video while I'm driving. What kind of idiocy is this? I should really stop the video now and go ahead and drive and concentrate on that, except for the fact that I am not really concerned about wrecking, because I'm really paying more attention to the road than I am to you. You notice I haven't even looked into the camera one time? Oh, you think I'm looking at the camera right now, but really, I'm not. I'm looking at the road. It just looks like I'm looking into the camera because I have on sunglasses. Okay, now back to the video. So atheists, I think, are people who say that they don't believe in God, but in all reality, I think that they probably believe in God, they just don't want to admit it. And let me explain that a little bit more, because I'm sure you've heard people say that before. You've heard the old saying, there's no such thing as an atheist in the foxhole. You know, when you're on the brink of death, there's no such thing as an atheist. Well, here's the thing. Think about this. God has rules. We all know that he has rules. God has also given us instructions on how to follow his rules so that there can be no mistake, so that all men will be guilty before him. The Bible puts it that way. The law is given, and we have the law so that all mouths will be stopped and everyone will be guilty before him, and there's no way to escape the fact that mankind has sinned. Now, that's the bad news, and that's some pretty bad news, because once you've sinned, you have to deal with the justice of God, who isn't too happy. In fact, you could say he's angry about your sin. Now, I think that atheists stop right there and they say, you know what? I don't want to believe in a God like that who is going to make me subject to his justice. Well, I'm sure that the ants that were in your front yard last week, as you were trying to get your yard ready for spring, don't want to deal with you, who are bringing justice to them and destroying them because they're messing up the aesthetic of your lawn. Now think about that. You, to those ants, have taken the place of God. You've exacted judgment and revenge upon them, and you've destroyed their, not just one or two, but their entire city, and attempted, if you know what you're doing, to kill their queen. Do you think it matters at all whether or not the ant believes in you? Because it really doesn't. You exist, and you have the power to eradicate them from your front yard, which is something I need to do. Anyway, that's the kind of situation that we're in on this earth. We have this concept that, well, I can get away with it whatever I want to because we're the top of the food chain, mankind. We are the most intelligent, greatest being on the planet Earth. There is nothing higher than mankind that has been made, that is in creation, nothing higher than mankind. And we dominate this creation that God has made for us. I know the angels are a little higher than us. Great. Whatever. Angels aren't corporeal on this earth, living in this world, doing what we're doing, following the will of God if we choose, or not following the will of God if we choose not to. Anyway, whole other discussion. Atheists, I think that really they don't want to subject themselves to the judgment and justice of God. And so for them, it's easier and more expedient that they just not believe in God at all. That's your choice. And I don't deny anybody that choice. I don't deny anybody the choice to be an atheist or a Buddhist or a Hindu or a Muslim or any other religions. And guess what? God doesn't deny you that choice either. But God offers you an alternative. God offers you the ability to be in a relationship with Him, to be reconciled to Him, and to live a life as best you can according to His will, and that's going to be pleasing to Him. Now, you can choose to do this, and you can choose not to do this. That is up to you. And so, the way that I would deal with an atheist is three things. Number one, if I were you, I would continue to be that person's friend, and I would show them love, and I would show them compassion, and I would show them some empathy, because I think we can all empathize with people who have been through difficult things. Show them empathy. There's nothing wrong with that. Show them compassion, love, and empathy. Number two, I would wait for opportunities to engage them in a spiritual discussion. Now, by that, I do not mean that you create an opportunity and that you go to them and say, hey, let me tell you about Jesus, and cram it down their throat, because they're not going to be receptive to that. And that's just the way that it is. However, they usually will bring it up. I had a good friend of mine, still is a good friend of mine. I love him to death, think the world of him. And he would call himself an agnostic. And actually, I don't even know if he really does anymore. It's been a long time since I've had a real deep conversation with him about faith. But this guy is somebody who challenged me years ago. Well, I'm talking decades ago. We were sitting down to eat one day, just him and I, and he brought up the Bible, and he says to me, Jay, you're always into this Bible stuff and God stuff and church and blah, 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 blah. See what I did there? Change it all up. He says to me, why do you believe what you believe? And I said, I believe what I believe. I believe what God said. I believe that Jesus existed, that He died for my sins, that He rose again, that I'm saved and going to heaven because I have faith. And he says, oh yeah, that's what all you Christians always say, but I've never seen anybody that can define faith. And I said, faith is, wow, Joe, that's an interesting point you bring up, because now that I think about it, I've heard very few people define faith. You hear it all the time. You got to have faith. You got to be faithful. Faith. Well, faith is a substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Well, that's easy. That's just a Bible verse. That just gives you a definition of faith. But what does it really mean? It means this, that we believe the things that God has presented to us in the Bible based on the evidence that he has given to us. Faith is believing the evidence that God has presented to us and taking the place of a juror and deciding the truth or untruth of it based on the evidence of what we have in the Bible. Anyway, that's all the time that I've got, especially since I'm driving. So I'll pick it up on another video. God bless you. See you next time. And yeah, there's the salute, baby.